We are extremely excited today to be able to launch the Flash on 29 bus service. This is a major enhancement in the transportation options available to the East County and is the culmination of many years of work. I remember having newly arrived in the metropolitan Washington region around 2008, meeting with a county council member who was really interested in how we could change the transportation patterns in Montgomery County. We had a conversation at that time. We talked about very arcane things. We talked about the South Boston parking freeze that limited the number of cars that could access that redevelopment area. We talked about the Silver Line that was just opening up there that was serving that, and how redevelopment was going to be a transit-focused endeavor, trying to get 60+% of the people using transit to access this new development area. I didn't know at that point that I'd be standing here with Mr. Elrich as county executive and me as the director of the DOT, opening the first step towards implementing a vision of BRT in this county, but we're here today. And I am so excited to see those years of thoughtful planning, design, construction, and community engagement come together to the point where we're able to provide new service to the residents of our county and to unlock the economic development potential in the East County. This wouldn't be possible without the support of hundreds of people. I'm going to start with the DOT staff, just because these people have worked tirelessly through very stressful conditions in the pandemic and before over many years to keep this project as close to schedule as it could be and to open it on budget. It is a huge endeavor. There are all kinds of new technologies involved in this that we don't have experience with and are trying. Most of those are on that station platform that's behind us, and some are on the vehicle. And all of them are in service today, and we're really excited that we're opening this with everything working. I want to thank our Division of Transportation and Engineering for the design and construction effort, the Division of Transit Services for training the operators and getting us ready to run this service, the Division of Traffic Engineering who implemented the traffic signal priority, the Parking Services Division who has stepped up for the maintenance of these facilities that are along this corridor, and our Division of Highway Services who will keep these free of snow and ice and make sure that these buses can run throughout the winter time. So this has really been a collective effort. I especially want to thank the BRT implementation team led by Joanna Conklin, Corey Pitts, Darcy Buckley, and others, who this has been a personal mission to make this happen. While the county has worked really hard to do this, and we've enjoyed the support of other departments like the Department of General Services, who procured these vehicles and is going to maintain them, and the Department of Permitting Services, who helped us get all the necessary approvals to build these. While the county has done a lot, it has not been alone. Obviously, we've relied on our colleagues in the county council to support this program and to provide the funding to implement these, but it wouldn't have been possible without support from the state and federal government as well. We have enjoyed an excellent working relationship with the Maryland Department of Transportation and principally the State Highway Administration, who has made efforts to restore the conditions of the shoulders on US 29 so that the ride in these vehicles will be smooth. And Greg Slater and his leadership of the Department of Transportation have been instrumental in making sure that there weren't unnecessary hurdles and roadblocks to implementing this service. I also want to thank our federal colleagues, the Federal Transit Administration, the Division 3 based in Philadelphia, who's been responsible for the federal oversight of the Tiger grant that provided about a quarter of the funding necessary for this project to advance. And also their environmental staff, who has helped us navigate to get all the necessary clearances to build this project. The FTA's engagement was really reliant upon the support of our federal delegation, Senators Cardin and Van Hollen, and Representatives Sarbanes, Trone, and Raskin. We're very supportive of this and have supported all of our other grant opportunities for federal funding. So I'm done thanking people. I'm sure I've forgotten half of the people I'm supposed to thank. But what we're really excited about is that we're moving from conversation, moving from ideas, and moving into service that our community can use. And with that, I'd like to invite County Executive Marc Elrich to comment on the opening of this service today.
Thank you. I'm really excited about this. This project, in my mind, has been more than 12 years in the making from the time I first worked on this. And I want to thank Dale Tibbetts, who's not here, because he's the person who, early on, we sat down with origin and destination maps in Montgomery County, and I said, map out a transit system which takes where do people start their trips in the morning and where do they go, and where do they start their trips in the afternoon and where do they go back to. And Dale diligently worked for probably at least several long nights, if not more, and laid out the basis of a bus rapid transit system that actually wound up being adopted by parking planning and by the county. And so without his initial work in laying out the routes and looking at options for single tracking and examining the characteristics of each route, we would probably not have gotten to the point that we got to. So that was really critical. The other thing is that when I laid out the routes, a lot of the routes just made perfect sense to anybody. You say you're going to run something down Georgia Avenue, you're going to run something down Wisconsin Avenue, you're going to do Veers Mill Road. Everybody was like, those things make sense. And then the question was, why are you doing this in the East County? Why do you have a route over here? There's no jobs over here. And I said, well, there are two reasons. One is these people have the worst commutes in the county. They have no way to get out of here except by 29 and maybe going over to Randolph Road and trying to swing over to that side of the county using Randolph Road, which is not a good road to drive either way. So they deserve the same kind of transit that we've provided other people in the county. And I thought it should be important that we prioritize this corridor because these people deserve to be able to get to work in less than 2 hours, just like everybody else. The other thing was, you don't have economic development over here because you've got no transit access. And if you think about, if we had 20/20 hindsight and we had thought as much about the East County as we thought about everything else in the county, we would have paralleled what we did on Wisconsin Avenue on 29. We would have made 2 development corridors, and we would have been able to have 2 successful parts of the county, as opposed to having one part of the county which develops and the other part of the county which doesn't develop. But I'm happy to say that we got this done. And the council and the planning board saw the value of bringing this here. This will bring jobs here. This is regular service. We're talking about 15 minutes at the longest period, down to 7.5 minutes during rush hour. This is regular service that you can count on. And when we finish the work we want to do south of New Hampshire Avenue, it's even going to be faster. So people are going to get a regular trip, a reliable trip, all-day service, 5:30 in the morning till 12 o'clock at night. That is the kind of service that you can count on, also 7 days a week. We don't do that everywhere, so we are prioritizing this corridor. We're making sure that people have transit options and that we can be successful, and they will have other opportunities. Hopefully it stimulates economic development. Hopefully, if nothing else, it makes people's lives easier. It makes their commutes simpler, it makes their commutes more direct, and it's the beginning of what we're doing in the county. This is not the end of things, this is the beginning of things. We have underway right now work on Veers Mill Road in the planning stages. We've in advanced planning stages on 355 from Bethesda all the way up to Clarksburg, and we've done a rework of the Corridor Cities Transit Way, both to deal with the legitimate concerns the state had, which was that it wasn't very rapid transit with the way it was designed, but also in order to free up the life sciences corridor there so they're not stymied by the failure to deliver the Corridor Cities Transit Way. We have an alternative which we think will work, which will get people moving and will not result in the bottleneck that people have been concerned about. So despite COVID, and I've said this from the beginning, we've continued to work on the future of Montgomery County, not just the present of Montgomery County. We came in saying that we wanted to do things different. We wanted to get to a different place. COVID hit us. It has caused people to repurpose their time they work and what they work on. But through all of that, our folks have continued to focus on what happens after COVID. This will be here after COVID. The work we're doing in transportation around the county will be here after COVID. It will make a difference. And I'm just really happy to be here, proud of the work you've done, proud of the attitude in the department that we are going to get things done and deliver them. And I'm just really glad to see these many people here today. It's a great step forward for the East County, and hopefully it's the beginning of the end of the neglect. Thank you.
Thank you, County Executive. I'd like to invite Council President Sidney Katz to speak.
Well, good morning, everyone, and I'm going to try to do my speech in a flash, is what I'm going to try to do. But I am the council president for the council this year and represent the residents of the 3rd District, which is not in the area that we're standing in, but Montgomery County is one county. And we know that, as the county executive just pointed out, that what affects the East County affects District 3 as well. So we're extremely happy to be here. And of course, we're here to honor what we're doing and to thank all that have done it. Flash is a catchy name, let's face facts, but it's also the name for what really happens for bus rapid transit on Route 29. It's a state-of-the-art transit system offering quality amenities such as Wi-Fi, USB ports, and bike racks. It'll be quick and convenient for more travelers along Route 29, and of course in other areas as well. We need to start somewhere, and today is the first start. And it's the first, underline the word first, bus rapid transit service in all of Maryland. We have a lot of Maryland looking at us to make certain that this is done right, and the second such service in this entire national capital region. This is an innovative transit system. It's going to take people in their cars off of the road and open up the county, as the county executive has said, for investment and economic development, which we are much after, and we will continue to work on that. This is exactly what we need right now in this moment of time. Flash has the ability to bring the creation of new jobs and businesses along Route 29, and of course it doesn't stop there. It goes through the rest of the county as well. I applaud the outstanding first step for a more transit and business-friendly county, and I want to personally thank the County Department of Transportation and all of those involved with Flash. We sincerely appreciate all of your efforts. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Council President. Our next speaker is the District Council member. He's been a tireless advocate for investment in this part of the county, and particularly in this project. He is also the chair of the Council Transportation and Environment Committee, who we have to answer to on a regular basis. So, Council Member Tom Hucker, and Vice President.
Thank you so much, Chris. Wow, what a great day. I know it's not saying much, but I feel like this is the best day all year. As Chris said, my name's Tom Hucker. I'm currently the Vice President of the Council, and I'm lucky enough to chair the Transportation and Environment Committee. This is really a long time coming, and what a beautiful day to launch our wonderful new Flash Bus Rapid Transit. I want to first thank the County Executive for dreaming up this project years ago and sticking with it. Congratulations, Marc. I know how fulfilling it must be to be here today to actually see it completed. I need to thank Director Chris Conklin and Joanna Conklin and everybody at DOT for their commitment to this great project. And I also want to thank the community and the stakeholders that have tirelessly advocated for a first-class transit line on this corridor for many years. This is much more than a transit project. This is hope, this is optimism, this is good news at a time when we all need good news, particularly the folks in Silver Spring and East County. Is that right, Giroux? Yes. So there's 3 reasons that I'm really excited about this. One is we're settling a debt today, as the county executive alluded to. We owe this to East County. The Flash service helps us address long-standing transportation inequities. Many years ago, there was discussion of running a spur of the Red Line up along this corridor, but that never happened. But partly due to that expectation, thousands of people moved to White Oak and Burtonsville because of the affordable housing there. But the transit was never built, so those residents deserve first-class transit just like the people who can afford to live within walking distance of a metro station. 2, as the county executive said, this is going to drive job growth and economic development along this whole corridor from Silver Spring to Burtonsville. There's been a lot happening on this corridor that we've been waiting for decades. We have an expanding FDA headquarters. We have a gorgeous new medical center. We have new grocers and retail options, and we have much more on the way. Some of that moved forward, and some of those plans firmed up once we committed to build this line. and more is on the way and will continue to grow because this line is starting today. And 3, this is great for our residents as well, for their day-to-day quality of life. For riders with jobs, this service is going to save them time getting to the FDA, getting to work, getting to visit relatives in their hospital, getting to jobs on the Red Line or in DC. Second, there's a whole other group of riders who need a job or want a better job. It's going to expand their economic opportunities because now they can get to a greater perimeter of jobs, greater universe of jobs, because they're going to get down to Silver Spring Transit Center and to the Red Line faster. And for others who ride Ride-On now, it means they're going to have more time with their families, less time sitting in traffic. And for a whole fourth group, folks that probably aren't going to ride the bus today, who are drivers today, whether they're heading to work and shopping at work or shopping at White Oak or on the Red Line, it's first-class transportation. It's a rail-like transit experience. So we're really hopeful they'll leave their cars in the the park and ride lots and hop on the Flash and plug into the Wi-Fi and plug into the USB ports and use the Wi-Fi to watch a movie or listen to a podcast all the way down to the transit center. This project helps us achieve our equity goals, our climate goals, and our Vision Zero pedestrian goals as well. It's win-win-win. So I want finally to make sure everybody knows this is not a one-off. This is the first corridor, and it's been said we're already funding design of projects just like this along the Veers Mill corridor and up the 355 corridor, right, Mayor, Council President? Absolutely. Right, up to Gaithersburg. We're committed to grow our BRT network to give commuters a reliable and a safe alternative to driving their cars, thus reducing congestion and reducing our CO2. In closing, I want to thank everyone who advocated for this project and who worked on it to make it happen. The residents of East County have waited a long time for a first-class transit option, and today they get one. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And our last speaker today is Casey Anderson, Chair of the Montgomery County Planning Board. Casey has been a steadfast advocate for making investments in high-quality transit, including the adoption of the Countywide Transit Corridors Functional Master Plan that others have talked about. And I know he sees a bright future for the role good transit like this can serve countywide, as is contemplated in the Thrive 2050 plan. So, Casey.
Thank you, Chris. Chris has been a fantastic partner. He has got to be the best department head of transportation the county's ever had, except, of course, for my good friend Jerry Sishi, who's joining us, my planning board colleague. You know, this is really a rare treat for a number of reasons. First one is that with all these elected officials here, somehow I've gotten the last word, which doesn't usually happen. Second reason is because I find myself in total agreement with the county executive, not just on the importance of bus rapid transit, but in fact everything he said, including the importance, in fact, the mistake that was made in previous eras of neglecting the East County and not treating Route 29 as a growth corridor, which we hope to correct with our new general plan. Because as he said, now is not the time to stop just because we're in the middle of a pandemic, which we have to deal with. It challenges us. But we don't have time to waste to plan and act for the future. And that's why not only do we need to proceed with bus rapid transit and continue to upgrade that infrastructure so it'll provide dedicated lanes and be really competitive with travel by car, but also to proceed with the planning of the future of this part as well as the rest of the county to make sure that it's prosperous and vibrant, and where we can make some course corrections for some of the things that were done in the past that didn't work out the way that was hoped. So this is the first step for all of that, and I look forward to working with him and with Chris and with all of you. The last thing I'll just mention is it's very strange for me because I still think of myself as the newcomer to all these county government processes, but I find myself still standing when some other people have moved on in various ways. And I want to mention a couple people who are not here, who played instrumental roles, including Ike Leggett, your predecessor, including Marc Winston, who was leading the transit task force that I served on after Marc and others from the council had advanced that. There are many more. Larry Cole, who was a planner at the Park and Planning Commission, who worked on the transit plan that produced this, refined the concept for this network. I'll leave it at that, but just to suffice it, and Nancy Navarro, of course, was a huge advocate for the East County and still is serving on the county council. Roger Bruner, Hans Reamer, others. But really the point is, obviously, everything takes a lot longer than it should, and it's very frustrating. but it's fantastic to see this finally moving forward, and I hope with the county executive's support and with Chris's support, with support of the planning board and the county council and the state, we will see more of these routes getting built much faster, because there's a lot of work and energy that's put into planning it the right way. So let's all get on the bus.
Thank you, Casey. I do want to thank my predecessor, Al Roshdi, as well, who there was a time when it was very uncertain how this project should proceed, and he had the grit and determination to make a decision on what it was we were going to implement, and that's what you're seeing here today. So thank you, Al, for your leadership in that time. We are actually going to launch these vehicles into service. For those of you who are curious to see the inside of the bus, or perhaps take a short ride in the buses but not run on its whole route, the ones over at the platform will stay, but all of the ones behind us are going into service as soon as we conclude this event. So I know we have some support from our local high schoolers who are going to entertain us for a little bit while we get all of this apparatus out of the way, and we're going to send these buses in on their routes.